Welcome to podcast number 6, Espresso with Vinny. Today is a fabulous day. It is my birthday, and it is Vinny's birthday. So, tanti auguri a te, tanto auguri a te, tanto auguri a te. For birthdays, we have espresso. We're going to start off, right? Every show. Birthdays are wonderful. We're going to think about how to save more dogs' lives. Many rescues are full, as you know. Now, here's the problem that we have. A lot of them are full with working dogs. So working dogs, meaning ones that are for a task. So working with working dogs, meaning to save more dogs' lives, we really need to focus on how to train a working dog versus a non-working dog, like maybe a dog that's meant to be more, let's say, relaxed and sits around on the sofa. It's a dog that's happy doing that. It's not showing frustration. It's a dog that has low energy levels, whether it's maybe old or maybe it's like a pug. I give that example frequently, something that's just cute and kind of just placid, doesn't want to do a lot. Or we can talk about all the working dogs like the pit bull and giant schnauzer I have, or the German shepherds, the Malinois, the Dutch shepherds, golden retrievers, Great Pyrenees, all these different dogs. They have different energy levels, Australian shepherds. They all have different energy levels that need to be met, but they also have different temperaments. Problem is, rescues are using a one-step approach to saving all these dogs, meaning that they are saying, here's again a cookie. And this cookie method has been failing for quite some time. They've drank the Kool-Aid quite good because, as you know, today in America, people don't want to stand up for their rights. So, and I brought this topic up many times, and I will continue to. And it's time to fight back, America. You're going to wake up, and I know some of you don't believe me. You're in your comfort zone. Very dangerous place to be. Right? Comfort zone is when you lose in life. Always lose. Where you have to understand and focus on dog training is, for instance, a Doberman rescue, this Sunshine Rescue I've been working with. They get some European line Dobermans, which are different than the American lines. Some of the American lines, they selected the genetics to be more less of a working dog and more of kind of a family dog. So you can walk it, you throw a ball, you do some of those things, but it wouldn't necessarily pass all the tests for Schutzen level training or going into military or police work with the intention of what the dog was really bred for, or just being a really good, intense, highly trained dog that someone wanted to protect their house and their office. These European lines, many people, they get on the internet, they do the research, they buy these puppies, and these puppies are gorgeous. And so they buy them, and then they find themselves in problems. So they give them back to a rescue or to a breeder, and they try to just say, it's the dog, it was too much for us, and they do the typical, I don't want to just overuse the millennial because that mentality is spread with narcissism to all ages at this point. But with that kind of snowflake mentality where they say, oh my God, I've been working 4 days and it hasn't worked yet, then it's not going to work at all because they don't understand what hard work is today. You have to put in the work, but you also have to put in the correct work. So doing just the little cutesy feeding for a house pet is far different than these European lines. So some of these Dobermans I've been working with in rescue, I've had unbelievable success with. I give great thanks to the people I've been working with. That's Amber walking here, enjoying the time here with our birthday here in Italy. She's the giant schnauzer of mine. But what we're looking at is how do we treat these dogs differently from a family dog? Family dogs, they tend to get up on sofas, they get into the furniture, they do different things. People tend not to be very strict with them because they don't really have a challenging personality. Working bloodlines, like some of these European lines, have very strong personalities. They will not do well with the man that really didn't live up to the title of being a man, let's just say, or the woman who says, I want protection, but she's not willing to be the leader. And so the great responsibility is this dog is abusing her. So we have to understand that when we train these dogs, we have to look at how the Germans originally trained them. We have to look at today and techniques I've used that are not based on pain by any means, but they're based on differently using more of a direct law of nature, I want to say, of how these dogs think, respond in their sensories. Sensories are important because they don't go away. They're part of the nature of the animal, especially some of these European bloodlines. So that's why we see Malinois returned often. We see pit bulls. We see the huskies, as we all know, they're full in the shelters. Too much to handle is basically why they were returned. It was the main reason. And if we keep following this narrative where everyone's just giving up because it's too much work, or they just don't want to deal with being ridiculed all the time for training it properly. And very few trainers are really offering the service today where they really say, look, that's a working line dog, and we treat it differently. And we have to, because it will not respect you. It's like having a child that will never respect you. It doesn't respect the professor. You're never going to learn, right? So hopefully this is sinking in. You take more of a strong position with a dog that says, I do not back down to anybody. And that's what you're going to see in really good working line breeds, because that's what human beings dealt with. That's why we brought dogs into these different breed categories, so that we could go out in the world and perform different tasks on ranches or hunting or police protection, whatever it was. And we wanted a dog that had that tenacity, that exposure to the elements, and didn't show fear and didn't back down and wanted to keep working and was very brave, is the word. And so that kind of an animal will not back down to even the handler, unless the handler proves, I have more endurance than you, I will never back down. And you have that responsibility when you have that dog. Now, that's a little too much, if not extremely too much, for most people in our society today. We've become extremely weak individuals, as you can see, and you look around you, at our tolerance level. Something very disturbing I have seen was the American College of Veterinary Behaviorists, although not surprising, came forward and they were criticizing a well-known YouTube dog trainer. And they were saying that all the positive reinforcement, and they're backing this all up. Look, in today's world, at this point, if you are believing any government institution or colleges and what you see, what's going out there in colleges and what they're promoting, you are the problem. I don't care to talk to you. Plain and simple. You have to understand, we were led down a lying past 3-4 years. Okay. They try to inject dogs with these vaccinations, and all they do is experiment to mutate the gene pool, and also just have propagation of shedding of a virus like a beacon, a hub to everybody else who's standing around the dog. That was the beginning, if you go back and you actually look at it. Drugs that were approved by government institutions such as the FDA since 2015 with Nobel Peace Prizes were suddenly dangerous to humans, and it was going to destroy them, and you can only use that on livestock. Well, I use antibiotics and you use antibiotics, but I'm sure the hell not going to take same damn level of antibiotics as an 800-pound horse. Okay, so that's a given. So why was all this buried, and why do they sneak it back to try to, but they're too embarrassed? Let's go back in history. Nothing of this has changed. 1610, Galileo. Any of you remember your history? Galileo said the world was round. And the church and all the medical institutions that were controlled by the church and the politics that they're so good at, yes, they said it was flat. And you can never embarrass us. We are the church and we are the science. Do not embarrass us. So what happened was they put Galileo under house arrest, and he proved the world was round with his telescope. We all know it's round today, regardless of your faith and what scientific studies you've been studying. But how many centuries went by where they punished an innocent man? This is not new. Greedy, narcissistic little bastard politicians do this to us. And you have to wake up and drop your little ego and realize you've been doped for centuries. We are controlled by corporations and trusts. You may think you have some sort of innocent little democracy. You don't. That's who controls the deals. People in general would rather love each other around the world and just pick team, play backgammon, have a good time. So stop believing the BS of what these institutions tell you. They've completely destroyed our constitutional laws. They play with our vocabulary. I've gone through this in some of my previous podcasts, and it just overflows into everything we're doing in dog training. Bottom line is, we're not saving good working breeds, and those were the breeds we wanted originally when we go back to caveman time. Those are the ones out of just natural Darwinism and natural selection that we use to stay alive and work a task. And that bloodline is getting killed off because too many people get them in the wrong hands, and they are now abusing it by just giving up and not showing proper training techniques. Now, my success rate with these Dobermans that I've been working with European lines has been wonderful. We have had unbelievable success. They keep sending their employees and some of the adoptions that have been holding some of these Dobermans that were dangerous and biting and lunging to me. 1-2 sessions pass by, 3 at the tops. Dogs are doing phenomenal with dogs walking by on the park. We are so happy with the results. And I encourage other rescues to either come forward and learn how to handle working dogs and separate that from your TV watching type of a dog. And I would encourage people to stand up and fight back, because cowards in my book don't mean anything. I don't care to talk to them. People need to stand up for what they believe in, because at some point, it's not going to be worth the money, because the money will just be a prison. You understand me? You will be in prison. You don't care. When I mean prison, you will have no freedom of thought. You will have no freedom of travel, of thinking anything. Even if you believe in something different, you're being forced a lie. Stop believing these institutions. They have lied to us relentlessly. Okay? And seeing is believing. Your eyes, what you see. And if someone doesn't understand how to handle working dogs, there's not that many of us around left, honestly. A lot of us retired. Good trainers that knew what they were doing. The Schutzhund societies that originally started the base back in, that we saw it in the United States back in the 1960s and moving forward, slowly dwindled off because they just couldn't get the support. And we had Americans criticizing, oh my God, my poor dog. How many times do I have to go through this? You've got to get better at your math, guys. The kinetic energy produced by two 80-pound objects doing a head-on collision at 30 miles an hour playing at the dog park or in your backyard for hours is greater energy than any type of force I would ever show you in a training class. None of my dogs are getting injured. You have to get away from this I feel sorry and be so gullible. Please understand that if we want to save more dogs out there like Vinny or like my giant Schnauzer and all these Dobermans I've been working with, had a Malinois I worked with this week that I saved, that was a repeat second home. Another one that was ready to be killed by 4 p.m. that day, and we relocated it to another home with people that actually work. Outerhurst International, a fabulous dog training facility for police and military. I work with a lot with the sheriff. And so we have great success in helping the dogs get in the right hands, but please do not fall in love with an animal just because you think you can handle it, okay? Certain things take a great responsibility. They have large jaws, they're powerful animals, and if you don't have that personality and you want that dog, hey, go take a martial art class for maybe a year, toughen up, beat yourself up a little bit, and stop being so soft. Honestly, you can do it. Everything in the answers of the universe out there, we're all capable of improving ourselves. Push yourself, work on yourself on the internal part. That's my message. And we're going to celebrate our birthday again. We've got some cookies, and we're going to still be doing our buono cumpleaños, our happy birthday, right? Okay. Have a great weekend, and realize that you can also find me on Spotify, and you can find me on Rumble. I also post things on other outlets, but please tell your friends, like the pages, follow me. More good things to come. Have a great day.